Rubaiyat quatrain number 75. We have come to the end of this great Persian scripture by the Sufi Omar Khayyam. Now, number 75 is preceded by number 74, as I'm sure you great brains know. And number 74 is among the 2, 3, or 4 most well-known stanzas, and I cannot resist the temptation but to read it again, because it fits with the last one. Ah, moon of my delight, who knowest no wane, the moon of heaven is rising once again. How oft hereafter rising shall she look through this same garden after me in vain? So Omar is bidding us goodbye as his spirit soars in infinity, and he gives us one more last quatrain. It's a quatrain not just of goodbye, which I just read, but a quatrain of hope and promise to those of us who remain, that we too shall join him in God realization. And this is what he wrote. And when thyself with shining foot shall pass among the guests, star scattered on the grass, and in thy joyous errand reach the spot where I made one, turn down an empty glass.
And when thyself with shining foot shall pass among the guests, star scattered on the grass, and in thy joyous errand reach the spot where I made one, turn down an empty glass. Paraphrase. O devotee, the time will come when you too will lose your earthliness and become the infinite light. Your soul will then soar through luminous astral regions, beholding the material worlds with their myriads of temporary guests. You will shower blessings on them all, and seek lovingly to awaken them through the silent whispers of their conscience. When your soul's limited joy becomes transformed into the limitless bliss of spirit, its liberating chant will resound through countless responsive, truth-seeking hearts. Ultimately, you will attain the vastness of omnipresence, where I myself, Omar, achieved oneness with the infinite. You, too, when you merge into pure spirit, will turn down your glass of separate existence, emptied of ego consciousness. Lo, your ego then will have vanished in the infinite.
So there we have it, the promise of immortality given to us by all the rishis and all the great scriptures of the world. Someday we too will turn down an empty glass. The glass of separateness and ego will be both empty and will be turned down because no longer needed. Well, that's a great promise, isn't it? And we will see all the guest stars scattered on the grass in the world from our abode in inner peace, in omniscience and omnipresence. It's a wonderful, thrilling prospect to contemplate and meditate on. I am among the lucky ones who have memorized the poem, the great poem of cosmic consciousness called Samadhi that Yogananda once wrote in New York City, riding up and down one of the subway lines. Nobody managed to notice him. And in that dark subterranean portal of human striving, he wrote the cosmic poem, Samadhi. And I'm among the lucky ones who have not only found the poem, but been blessed with the opportunity and the effort to memorize that great poem and to recite it every day of my life. This poem vanished the veils of light and shade. This poem transmits what Omar is talking about in an ineffable vibration. Vanish the light and shade. It's just a beautiful poem. And if you want to take Omar with you, I recommend you at least read that poem. It can be found in the Autobiography of a Yogi. I suspect it's online somewhere as well. And to remind us that we are not this body. So Omar has taken us on a wonderful journey wherein he asks all the big questions of life and ponders all the various intellectual strivings that people go through, and putting that aside, urging us to go within and find the truth that shall make us free. And so we've had a wonderful, enjoyable time together with you. We had thoughts of, gee, wouldn't this be a wonderful class to do? And it would be, but I don't know whether or when that could ever happen. This is a great scripture, and Yogananda felt to honor it. He did several, not translations, but commentaries. He did the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. And then lastly, he did a series of articles that he entitled The Second Coming of Christ, interpreting the core teachings of Christ, of Jesus, and by extension, also key aspects of the Old Testament. Yogananda said that the most important books of the Christian Bible were the first and the last, Genesis and the Apocalypse, or Revelations. And I happen to be working on a manuscript that I hope, if I can ever complete it, it's a daunting task, that might help summarize for people more on my level how to resurrect Christianity. I'm tentatively calling it, what am I calling it? The Cross and the Lotus, the resurrection of Christianity. This was one of the core missions of Paramahansa Yogananda, to bring together the teachings of Christ and Krishna, whose names even are inextricably linked, to show the universality of both. And it is often asked, why? Why those both? Yes, he did the Rubaiyat, and yes, he did the Yoga Sutras. But his main focus was the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita. Why? He never said, at least to my knowledge, and certainly not to my hearing, but he said it was Babaji's wish that I do so. I think personally, and this is just my own opinion, that the Gita and the tradition it represents, and Christianity and the tradition that it represents, especially the teachings of Jesus, focuses on the need for the guru. In Christianity, the guru is only one, and there's an exclusive claim as it relates to Jesus Christ. But nonetheless, even if in India, Sanatana Dharma, the teaching of the need of the guru is more universalized, and saying that there have been many true gurus, saviors of humanity down through the ages, it amounts to the same thing, a message much needed by civilization at this time. Our own scientific orientation is towards universality. But universality has for its danger that it can so dilute precepts as to be disconnected with action and with personal effort. And so, it's I love the world, it's people I don't like, that sort of thing. Or better yet, the bumper sticker, think globally, act locally. We need to make things personal. More than that, however, is the actual precept and teaching of the need for discipleship, the need to offer one's heart to a personal form of God, to which we can appeal, from which we can learn, and which has the power to make us sons of God. To as many as received the true Guru, gave he the power to become the sons of God. Now, Omar does not so much emphasize that principle. In fact, I guess I'll go so far and say I don't think he did. And so in that respect, then, it is not a complete teaching. Similarly, the Yoga Sutras are a little bit more oriented towards the Guru, but not very much. And so too, whereas in the Bhagavad Gita and in especially the New Testament, the Old Testament talked about the prophets, and that's as close as they could come. They managed to persecute the prophets, including crucifixion of Jesus Christ. But nonetheless, the New Testament, Jesus boldly, at the cost of his human life, affirmed the need for the Guru. And so we move on. And tomorrow, beginning Friday, I will take the lead in sharing with you inspiration from the original writings of Paramahansa Yogananda. He wrote a series of lessons that he would send out through the mail. And though they are in need of some measure of editing for the modern ear, nonetheless, his way of writing is so fresh and so dynamic that Padma and I are going to take turns, as we have with Rubaiyat and Whispers this year and last, and share with you excerpts and inspirations that we feel from Yogananda's original lessons. So spread the word, good friends, and I will see you tomorrow at this time with the first lesson from what he called the Yogoda lessons in self-realization. Okay, great souls. Signing off for Omar Khayyam, who lives now in the spirit, but we thank him for his words